Open your fridge. Really look inside it. Days of food, maybe weeks, kept fresh by a humming box you never think about. Now unplug it and unplug every store, every freezer, every can, everywhere. Winter is coming. The hunting is about to vanish. The plants are about to die back. And whatever you haven't saved by autumn, you simply will not eat. For your ancestors, this wasn't a bad week. It was the basic math of survival every single year. So how did they keep food from rotting long enough to live until spring with no electricity, no cans, and no cold box at all? And here's the first thing to understand. Their real enemy was never the cold. It was rot. And in the coldest places on Earth, winter itself became the thing that saved them. You've probably pictured prehistoric life as hand to mouth. You hunt, you eat, you hope you get lucky again tomorrow. But that's not how many of your ancestors lived at all. They were master planners, and they had ways to dry, to smoke, to freeze, and even to can their food, tens of thousands of years before any of those words existed. Let's climb the ladder they built, one method at a time. Start with the oldest and simplest trick of all. Take the water out. Rot is really just bacteria feeding and multiplying, and bacteria need moisture to do it. So if you slice meat thin and let the sun and wind pull the water out, you leave those bacteria with almost nothing to live on. Dried strips of meat, jerky, essentially dried fish, dried fruit, could last for months instead of days. You already know this one. It's the exact same principle as the bag of dried meat you can buy at any gas station today. But there was a way to make it last even longer. Here's where it gets cleverer. You don't just dry the meat, you dry it over a slow, smoky fire. The smoke does two jobs at once. It drives off moisture, and it coats the surface in natural compounds that bacteria hate, sealing the food against decay. That smoky bacon on your breakfast plate, that smoked salmon you are eating, a Stone Age preservation technique, lightly updated, now head north into the cold, where your ancestors had something better than drying. They had a freezer, not a machine, the ground itself. In the far north, dig down past the topsoil and you hit permafrost, earth that stays frozen below zero all year round. Cut a chamber into it, and you've built a natural cold store that can keep meat frozen for a whole year. And this isn't ancient history you have to imagine. Arctic communities still use these ice cellars today. In fact, here's a detail that should stop you. As the climate warms, that permafrost is beginning to thaw, and those ancient cold stores are failing, meaning some of the very last people using this deep, old technique are watching it melt away in real time, so they could dry it, smoke it, freeze it. But here comes the most concentrated solution of all pure, dense energy you can carry. Take dried meat, pound it into powder, and mix it with rendered fat. You get a solid block that packs enormous calories and can last for years, not months. Indigenous peoples of North America perfected a version of this called pemmican, and this fat obsession runs staggeringly deep. Recent research at a site called Neumark-Nord in Germany suggests that Neanderthals were running something like a fat processing operation, smashing and boiling animal bones to extract grease at real scale, possibly around 125,000 years ago. If that holds up, it's a level of planning and organization that genuinely surprised the archaeologists who found it. And then there's the technique that impresses experts the most, because it doesn't fight rot at all. It controls it. Instead of stopping decay, some ancestors learned to guide it, burying or caching fish and meat and letting it ferment in a controlled way, which can both preserve it and, strangely, make some of its nutrients easier to absorb. The archaeologist John Speth argues this kind of deliberate fermentation may have been a crucial and overlooked survival tool, a way to bank food and unlock energy from it that leaves almost no trace for us to find. It sounds unappealing to modern ears. But if you've ever eaten a fermented food on purpose yogurt, kimchi, a properly aged cheese, you're using the same idea. And this wasn't only about meat. At a waterlogged site called Ohalo II in Israel, preserved for roughly 23,000 years, archaeologists found evidence that people were gathering and processing wild grains and plant foods in bulk, the deep roots of storing a harvest, long before farming. Your ancestors weren't just grabbing what they could. They were stocking a pantry for a season they knew was coming. But storing food did something bigger than beat starvation. It quietly began to change what humans were. Think about it. If you have a store of food, you have a reason to stay in one place and guard it. You have something that can be owned, hoarded, inherited, defended. A full cache is wealth, and wealth is the thing egalitarian bands had always lived without. That frozen larder in the ground may have been one of the very first seeds of settling down, of property, and of the inequality that came with them. The freezer, in a sense, helped invent the landlord. So look back in your own kitchen, and you'll see every single one of these ancient methods still there. Your freezer is the ice cellar. Your smoked meats are the smoky fire. Your jerky is the drying rack. Your sausages and cured meats are the fat and the salt. Your pickles, your yogurt, your kimchi are the controlled rot. You didn't replace what your ancestors invented. You just plugged it in. So open your fridge one more time. That quiet, humming box you never think about is the ending of a war against rot and hunger that your ancestors had to win every autumn, every year, or die before the snow melted. You didn't inherit food. You inherited their victory over starvation, already packaged, already solved. Every time you pull something from the freezer without a second thought, you are standing on the far side of the longest survival race in human history, and it's so completely won that you get to forget it was ever run.